I don't know why I'm telling this. Maybe it's to finally get this burden off my chest. You know, there are moments when something so strange and inexplicable happens in your life that you just want to erase it from memory. For me, that moment was that night. The night I learned what a real night shift truly is. My name is Alex, and I can still feel the chill of that cursed gas station, even though a year has passed. It's not just a memory. It's like a piece of your soul is stuck there, glued to a plastic countertop on the side of Highway 17. I'm not telling this for fame. I'm telling it because I need someone else to know, just in case I don't make it through my shift. I was 22 then. I had just dropped out of college and needed a job. And this gas station, Pete's 24-hour pit stop, seemed perfect. Boring, but it paid. 4 night shifts, 3 days off. Easy money. I was naive. I thought falling asleep was the worst thing that could happen. Highway 17 is not a freeway. It's a road that leads to nowhere and from somewhere. It stretches through scorched fields, past abandoned farms, and Pete's pit stop was the only glowing rectangle for 100 miles. The building was an old square block with faded siding. Outside, 2 rusty pumps. The lamp above them buzzed like a swarm of metallic bees. Inside, it was cozily claustrophobic. A plastic counter, rows of chips frozen under the dim light, and in the corner, near the coffee machine, was that door. Wooden, without a handle, with a small, dirty, opaque window. The door to the back room. Gary, my shift partner, came in on the second day. A man in his 50s. He was too calm. His movements were measured, his speech monotonous. But his eyes, they were always strained, as if he was constantly anticipating something. At the end of my second shift, as I was putting on my jacket, Gary glanced around, and it was strange because the store was empty, and pulled out a wrinkled, quarter-folded piece of paper, stained with age. These are our rules for the night shift, kid. They ain't official. They are a contract. Read them, memorize them, follow them, and you'll be fine. I took it. The handwriting was neat, but felt nervous. With a heavy press of the pen. Night shift rules, 11 p.m., 7 a.m. Check the coffee machine and tobacco stock at 11:30 p.m. It distracts your mind from the silence. Always keep the counter clean. They like order and dislike being ignored. If you hear clicking on the roof between 1 a.m. and 1:30 a.m., do not look at the cameras and do not try to go outside. It will pass if you are working. Turn on the radio to a local station. Voices are a shield against your own thoughts. If there is no fog outside, but car headlights look blurry, do not accept cash payments. Cash on such nights is a pass for them. After midnight, if there is one customer in the store, and he buys nothing for more than 5 minutes, say, "Excuse me," I'm counting the till now. Never ask what he is looking for. If the landline rings, and the receiver has only static or a child crying, do not hang up until you hear 3 beeps. Never, under any circumstances, open or check the back room between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Gary. This sounds like a horror movie script, I said, forcing a laugh. Gary didn't flinch. It's not a script, Alex. It's this gas station's history. Here, kid, you don't just sell gas. You are a custodian. If you break the rules, you give the thing in there the legal right to take you. You'll be the next one to write this list. Got it? At that moment, I still thought it was just a creepy joke. I was alone. I followed the first 5 rules ironically. I even heard a faint clicking on the roof at exactly 1:15 a.m. It sounded like someone with very long, thin claws was slowly strolling above my head. I didn't look at the cameras. At 1:47 a.m., an old green sedan pulled up. A tall guy in a rumpled suit got out. He came in and froze by the chips and soda aisle. 5 minutes. It felt like an eternity. I could only hear the humming of the refrigerators and my accelerating heart. On the 5th minute, when I was choking on the tension, I remembered Rule 6. I took a deep breath. "Excuse me, sir." I'm counting the till now. He slowly turned his head, and that's when I saw it. His eyes were absolutely black. Smooth, oily, without pupils, reflecting the dim light like 2 black stones. He slowly nodded without saying a word and left. He drove away, without headlights. I convinced myself that I had endured. I hadn't broken the rule. At 3:07 a.m. the landline rang. It was deafening. I picked up. Rule 7. In the receiver there was a child crying. Small, hysterical. It sounded too close, as if the crying person was standing right next to me. I waited for the beeps. Crying. Beep. Long, heavy, like a bell strike. The crying continued. It grew louder, more insistent. Beep. Another one, slightly faster. The crying abruptly stopped. There was absolute silence, and immediately after, I heard a very quiet, deep, hoarse male whisper. "You broke it." "You'll have to check." The whisper stopped. I heard the third beep. I slammed the phone down. I stared at the clock. 3:15 a.m. The whisper said I broke it. But how? I endured the 3 beeps. What was the mistake? Scrape. The sound came from the back room door. Scrape, scrape. As if something very heavy and inflexible was being dragged across the concrete inside. Rule 8. Never under any circumstances check the back room. But the whisper. "You'll have to check." It sounded like a command. My rational mind sought logic, but curiosity was stronger than fear. I slowly stood up. I walked towards the door. The scraping stopped. An absolute silence fell. I saw the small window. I raised my hand to wipe off the dust and peek inside. Bam! Something hit the glass from the other side. The impact was powerful, wet. I saw the glass bulge. I jumped back. And in the spot where I wiped the dust, I saw it. It was a back. A huge humped back covered in thick black damp fur. It was too big for any animal. It was crouched on the floor, and it was breathing. Heavy wheezing, wet breathing. I saw the back rise and fall, and with it came a quiet crunching sound, as if something inside was breaking. The smell of damp earth and raw meat hit my face. I fell to the floor, my hands over my eyes. I realized that Rule 8 was the only thing protecting me, and then I heard it again. The whisper. But now it came from behind the door. "You checked. You broke our agreement, Alex. Now you stay for the shift." Like Pete, like me. Morning came, cold and unreal. Gary arrived at exactly 7. Seeing me on the floor, he sighed heavily. His smile was gone. "What did you see?" he asked. "A back. It's in there. It said I broke it and I'm staying for the shift." Gary locked the front door. "This gas station, Alex," he said, "stands on a bad place. We who worked here all made a silent contract with the thing in the back. We call it the shift. It feeds on rule breaking. When you break a rule, you give it the legal right to take you. Pete, the first guy who worked here, broke all of them. He became what's in there. He became the custodian of this boundary. What was the mistake? You couldn't accept the fear as inevitable. You succumbed to curiosity and the shift's command. The whisper, "You'll have to check," was a psychological trick. It knew fear would make you seek an explanation. And curiosity is what it feeds on. You willingly voided Rule 8. You opened yourself up, and it took you. Gary put a clean sheet of paper in front of me. "Alex, it's your turn. Now you are the custodian of the rules. Your new job is to write a new list, because your story of the violation must become a warning for the next one. My contract is over. I fulfilled my part. I handed over the position to the one who violated the rule." He headed for the exit. "Last piece of advice. Never try to destroy this list. Otherwise, the shift will take you completely and immediately. You must update it and wait. You must be patient." He left. I was alone. I couldn't move. I was bound to this floor. I tried to grab my car keys. My hand lifted, but when my fingers touched the metal, I felt a sharp, icy shock. I was thrown back. I was a prisoner. By evening, I started writing. I had to make a list that would give the next rookie a better chance than Gary gave me. Or, should I guarantee they violate it to hasten my release? That thought was sickening, but logical. Night shift rules. Alex, 11 p.m., 7 a.m. Sing. After midnight, if one customer stands for more than 5 minutes, say, "Excuse me, I'm counting the till now." If he turns and his eyes are black, do not look at him in the camera mirror. It can reach into the reflection. 7. If the landline rings and you hear static, or a child crying, or both, do not hang up until 3 beeps. But if you hear a whisper after the second beep, you may ignore it. It has no right to speak until the 3rd beep. Never, under any circumstances, look into or approach the backroom door between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. If you hear scraping, put on headphones and play music loudly. Ignorance is your only defense. I spent 4 hours writing the list. 4 hours during which I felt a heavy, damp shadow glide around the counter. At exactly 11 p.m., the neon sign flickered on. I was ready. My shift began with small, terrible details. The cold came from the backroom door. The air 3 steps from it became dense, moist, and icy, like the air in a morgue. I saw tracks. On the floor behind the counter, there were 3, or 4 wide streaks, as if something very heavy and messy had crawled from the back room door towards my chair. I furiously scrubbed them away. At 1:15 a.m., the clicking on the roof was louder, and I could hear a heavy, measured stride. It stopped right above my head. A heavy sigh from above, as if it was disappointed. And the clicking moved on. At 3:07 a.m., the phone rang. I picked up. Only static. Loud, hissing. I waited for the beeps. Beep, beep. In the center of the static, I heard a new sound. Very faint, but rhythmic. It was a human knock. Knock, knock, knock. It came from behind the counter. It was trying to make me turn around or hang up. I pressed myself against the wall. No. Only the third beep. Beep. Sharp, like a gunshot. I hung up immediately. The knocking stopped. I won. I endured. I survived the hours until 4 a.m., listening to the shift, walking inside the back room, hitting the walls. I did not approach. At 7 a.m., a new shift worker arrived. A young woman, a college student. "Hi, I'm Jenna. It's kind of creepy at night, huh?" she said, smiling brightly. I silently pulled out my new rule list, folded into quarters, and handed it to her. "These are our rules, Jenna. They're not official, but they're important." She took the list, laughing. "Wow, like in a horror movie. Rule 8, right? What is it, a ghost?" "Just don't break it, Jenna," I said, feeling terrible. I looked at her and thought, I gave you a better chance than Gary gave me. But you are my only hope. As she walked away, I noticed a thin red thread on her wrist. It looked exactly like the one I had seen on Gary's wrist, and the one I had horrifiedly noticed on my own wrist this morning. A sign of attachment. I didn't leave right away. I got into my car, but instead of driving, I just stared at the gas station, waiting for Jenna to finish her first shift and confirm it was just a joke. But I knew her shift had just begun, and I had to be here to take the list back if she endured, or if she violated it. I still work at this gas station, the day shift, so I can keep an eye on my successors. My eyes are almost completely black now. I wait, and I know that one day, one of them, sooner or later, will break Rule 8, and then, only then can I drive away. But what will I become? A custodian, like Gary? Or part of the shift, like Pete? I gave Jenna a better chance. What about you? Would you trust your life to a list of rules given to you by a man with black eyes? And who is scarier in this story, the creature in the back room or the system that feeds it? Write your thoughts in the comments.